Yes. Okay. So as I give a brief introduction now to the material at hand, the yoga material at hand, I suggest you gather your props around you. What we'll need today for our practice is a chair, a wall. You're going to need a bolster or a bolster equivalent. So if you don't have a yoga bolster at home with you, that's completely fine. You can use a yoga mat and roll some thick blankets around it. You need something that has sort of a firm shape and is round. An eye cover is going to be very important. I see everyone kind of getting up and moving around. This is great. So you need something to cover your eyes. Of course, if you have your perfect fancy yoga eye bag, that's the right thing, but you can use a scarf or a clean sock. You can use anything. Just something. I really want you to cover your eyes in the poses because darkness is an important trigger for the parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, let me look at my list. And blankets. All the blankets you have at your house, assemble them, and pillows. I see Buffard gathering pillows as well. Exactly. Even like sort of these type of pillows, couch pillows, anything is what you will need to help with the practice. What's really important in restorative yoga is creating a position of physical comfort. So that's what the props are for. It doesn't matter exactly the perfection of the setups. When I teach restorative yoga teacher trainings, one stumbling block often with new teachers is they can get sort of rigid or stuck on the exact formation of the propping in the pose. That's not as important, and especially now when we're all practicing from home with whatever we have. What's more important is finding a position of comfort so that you can let go, and so that fundamentally the basic idea here is we're going to consciously move from our sympathetic fight or flight, high anxiety nervous system into our parasympathetic rest, tendon, befriend nervous system. We're going to do that quite consciously with some targeted maneuvers like covering our eyes. And the props are there to help us on that journey. Okay, any questions or panic feelings about the props? Florence is saying she's been feeling more stress and less self-confidence. Absolutely. Absolutely. Staying in sweatpants all day is not good for my self-confidence. Not leaving the house is not good for my self-confidence. All right, I'm not seeing any questions popping up in the chat. I'm going to give you guys a couple more moments. I see many empty screens. I'm scrolling through all your videos. Hi, Cecile. Hi, Monk. Okay. So the definition of restorative yoga. This was one other question I wanted to ask. Oh, Samantha says she doesn't have any blankets. Okay. Well, towels from your apartment, even heavy sweaters. You can also dress warmly, make sure you have warm socks on, that type of thing. Who has done a Lasater style restorative yoga class before? Either with me, with my mom, with someone who's been trained by us. Give a yes in the chat or give a no. I'd like everyone to answer. So I at least see the no's coming through. I'm seeing a lot of yeses. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so that's good. No brave no's. One no. No, okay, another no. Good. So I will briefly just give the one sentence definition, our definition of restorative yoga to help frame our practice today. And then we're going to move on to the mat. So restorative yoga is the use of props to support the body in positions of comfort and ease to facilitate relaxation and health. Restorative yoga is the use of props to support the body in positions of comfort and ease to facilitate relaxation and health. So the props are just there, as I said before, to get us to a position of comfort and ease. And the comfort and ease is incredibly important. That's the central feature that I want you to hold in your mind and in your heart and in your belly brain with us today as you practice. I want you to be physically comfortable. It's unlike many other practices that we can do on our yoga mat, in which, as I said to Linda in our YouTube conversation last week, it's on the Ashtanga Yoga YouTube channel that you should all subscribe to. It's wonderful over there. In active practice, when we do dog pose, is the example I always use. My attention is on my hamstrings, or for me, my calves, because they're always tight no matter what I do. So all of my power of focus is on my calves and how uncomfortable they are in dog pose. So this is the focusing tool of that pose for me. All of my attention is there very strongly and sharply, so that the joke I always make is I'm not worried about my credit card bill because I'm thinking about my calves. In restorative yoga, it's somewhat different. We want you to be comfortable. And we're using that comfort as a tool. It's almost like a different tool in the toolkit. Sometimes you want a hammer, sometimes you want a screwdriver. So with restorative yoga, our main tool is comfort. Okay, I want everyone to really accept that, especially those no's on the list. If this is one of your first experiences of this style of restorative yoga, it's different than yin yoga. Yin yoga is still using stretch in some way to get our attention, to focus and define the practice. Okay, but here we're moving really far away. We'll do a couple sort of opening poses with support. We're going to do a supported uttanasana, forward bend, for example. Yes, there will be a little bit of stretch. So it's not black and white, but we're moving really in the direction of comfort. Okay. And then the last part of the definition that I said, to facilitate relaxation and health. So it's not that the restorative yoga itself makes us healthy. I don't believe that. I believe that when we spend time in these poses, what happens is that we remove the stress from our nervous system, from our bodies, and our body knows how to heal itself. So my mom always likes to say, your liver is smarter than you. Like, the body has this incredible biological intelligence and actually knows what it needs to do in order to find its way back to balance. Just like if you could imagine being in a sailboat that's being rocked from a storm, once the wind, which we might call stress in this example, when the wind stops and the sailboat has been tipping over, once the wind stops, the boat knows how to right itself. So the body knows how to find its way back to balance. And we're just giving it a little bit of a chance now. We're giving our nervous system a little bit of a rest, a break, which is very different than lying on the couch with Netflix or Instagram. So this is a conscious, embodied form of rest that we're going to take today. Okay? So that's really my whole introduction that I have. Any questions from our wonderful 30-person room? I'm imagining you all here with me in my living room. It would be very full. Do we use a playlist? No, I don't play music during restorative yoga. I don't play music during classes, and I don't play music when I practice at home. When I do vinyasa at home, I like music, but for restorative, we believe that the silence is an important component of the healing that is going on. And silence is so incredibly rare nowadays. So as much as you can, I know you're probably, many of you are home with your 3 cats and 5 kids and husband and all of the kit and caboodle. You may be, I see some people in the background in your screens. As much as you can, if you can close the door now, if you can make a sort of silent space. Definitely, we're all going to turn our phones. I would put your phone on airplane mode. all that kind of stuff. So give yourself the next hour and 15 minutes to create a refuge of silence. Oh, everyone sees me here in this video. Yes? Yes, yes, yes. I'm checking the chat. There's not a proper Zoom yoga class without one moment of technological panic. So we've gotten that over with, and we're ready to get back onto the mat. So we'll start this pose over. Spread your feet, turn the outside edges of your feet parallel to the outside edges of your mat. That helps the position of your hip joints. Inhale the breath, hands on the hips. Exhale, fold forward, tuck your chin slightly and bring the point where your hair meets your forehead, or maybe the top of your head onto the chair, something that feels good and restful. Cross your arms behind your head and turn your attention to the breath. We're going to stay about 5 more breaths here. All right. Inhale the breath deeply. Exhale into the lungs. Inhaling, come up onto the hands. Take a pause here. Exhale. And inhale, come all the way up to standing, keeping the chin soft. And pause in Tadasana. So just standing. The feet are hip distance apart. Close your eyes. Take a scan of your body here. Just notice if you find any tension. So turning your attention inside of the body, interoception. And as you take long, slow, deep inhalations and long, slow, deep exhalations, do you find any tension in the body? Exhaling one more breath, inhale. And then exhale. All right, we're turning into the chair. This time, remove your padding. And we're going to do a very gentle dog pose on the chair. Bring your hands to the front corners and step back. So it's a really light dog pose. Just a little bit to stretch and lengthen the spine. I want to drop the head here. This is just to remove any kinks from sitting or from being too stationary, too sedentary today. Anything going on in the upper back. Exhale, drop the head. And big inhalation, begin to walk towards the chair, pausing once again, being really gentle with yourself, and inhale. And come back up to standing. So sit down in front of your chair. I'm gonna take this little ball that I love. It's a yoga tune-up ball, and I like to sit on it for forward bends. You could also use the corner of a pillow, or you could use the corner of a blanket. You could take a blanket and you could sit right on this corner, just under the tip of your bum. I suggest you put padding back on the chair. We're going to rest the forehead here. So sit gently, simply cross the legs. Now, if you have lower back issues or if this causes any pain to do, then I would like you to just lie down onto your back and bend your knees and breathe with us. So if you have like a slip disc or any sort of pain in your lower back when you do gentle forward bends, please avoid that by lying down on your back. We'll just be here a few breaths. Inhale the breath. And exhale, gently fold forward, bringing the forehead onto the chair and gently rounding the spine. So we're not collapsing here, but we're rounding forward. And let the chair take up the weight of your head. So 60% of the lungs are in the back body. So breathe now. Your homework assignment for this pose is to breathe into the back lungs. Couple more long, slow, deep inhalation. This is a Samavriti breath here. Long, slow, deep exhalation. And begin to gently find your way back up to sitting. So forward bends, and especially the first two that we did, putting the head below the heart, are very powerful tools for activating the parasympathetic nervous system. So hopefully you're beginning to feel yourself turn inward, slow down. Like it might feel like you've just had 4 sips of wine, that kind of beginning to relax. So if that feeling is starting to arise, just completely go with it. You might want to keep your eyes mostly closed for the rest of the practice. We're trying to encourage and invite that sensation into the body. Bring your hands together in front of the heart. We'll begin with a simple prana mudra vinyasa. So this class is called Restorative Yoga as a Survival Tool. There's that old story, I don't know, it's like a fable, or a kind of a, where a man goes to heaven and he says he's angry at God because he was very religious and there was a flood and God didn't save him. And God says, I sent a boat and I sent a rescue team, and I sent, 2 or 3 different things that God sent to save the man. And the whole time during the flood, the man was on his roof saying, God will save me, God will save me, God will save me. So I've mistold that story, but many of you know what I mean. And what we're going to do now is invite into our bodies and invite into our practice the idea that we're opening. You might even take your hands now and open them gently, like you're holding a flower. That we're open to this survival tool of restorative yoga. We're open to being saved, as it were. We're open to receiving the grace that can come from our practice. So it's not just about the help being there, but we have to be willing to receive it. Inhaling, bring the palms up, open the arms now. This is a prana mudra, as if we're receiving all of the blessings. Exhaling, gathering them and drawing them down towards the heart. Bow the head. We'll repeat that movement just a couple times. Inhale. Exhale. Combining the movement with the breath, with the intention. Exhale. Drawing it in towards the heart. 3 more times. Inhale. And exhale. Letting yourself receive. Inhale. Open. Exhale down into the heart. Last time. Inhaling. And exhale. Hands come down to the heart. All right, now it feels as though we can begin. So we're going to do a very simple back bend now. You need 1 blanket or a pillow and your eye cover. We won't need the chair, so we can remove that. So I'll demonstrate it with a pillow so that you can see. And I'll get my eye cover. Ready? If you have a second blanket nearby, that will be even more cozy. I'll show you what to do with that in a moment. So this is a very simple back bend to open the front of the diaphragm, the front ribs, and quiet the mind. So have your eye bag or your eye cover nearby, because once you lie down, you're not coming back up. All right, and have your second blanket nearby. So this could be a blanket, or I'm using this pillow from my couch. So I'm sitting on the yoga mat. You're not sitting on the prop, okay? But it comes down and touches you in the lower body, and you begin to just gently roll yourself down onto your back. So hopefully you're experiencing that sound that I've just made, that sensation in your body of release and relaxation as you lie down. We're looking for the top part of this support should be the lower tips of your shoulder blades. For women, it's generally right around where your bra strap is. That's the place we want to invite to open here. The feet are wide as the mat is a good rule of thumb, and the knees come together. Now, if you have another blanket, it can feel really nice to put that over your knees for a bit of warmth and a bit of weight. Okay, adjust your tights, your shirt. Because we spend a little bit of time in these poses, small details become very important. So let yourself adjust your lower back a little bit here. I always move my hair out of the way. Yeah, okay. Take your eye bag. This is a kind of standard eye bag size that many of us have. What I suggest is you only take a small portion of the weight of that eye bag, just you separate it with your fingers and you put a small portion on the eyes and the rest is actually going on the forehead. So it's not too heavy on the eyes. And release onto the forehead. Spread the arms. I have the wall here, so I'm a bit trapped, but if I didn't have this wall, I would put my arms out this wide, okay? So you really can open the arms up so that the side ribs are free. But whatever choice you make, I want symmetry. So I'm going to do a little less with this arm so that my arms will be the same. Either turn the palms up to face the ceiling, or especially if your arms are quite wide, come onto the little finger side by rolling all the way from the shoulder joint and soften the fingers and rest on the side. So can you see my, oh, my hand is off camera. Okay, so resting on the side here. Not here, but on this little finger side is a little nuance, a small detail that feels amazing, especially if your arms are this wide. You're going to bring it onto the little finger side, but all the way out here. Okay, if you're not getting that or you can't see it exactly on the camera, don't worry. Your eyes are covered. And now we're just going to stay in this pose for a couple of minutes, and I won't talk. I'm going to give us a few minutes of silence so that everyone can enjoy their own pose. So the instructions are for you to turn your attention inward. And notice if you feel any tension, and invite the tension to let go, to release, to soften. That's all we're doing. It's a three-step process. Very simple. Turn your attention inward. You can do that by being with the breath. When you notice tension arising, thoughts can be a form of tension. Simply ask them to release. Invite them to release. And Linda's going to let me know if anyone is needing help or if there's any panic in the chat. She's going to let me know. Otherwise, we're just going to enjoy a few minutes of silence together. Deepen your next inhalation. And exhale. Do nothing. Inhaling, now bring your hands down towards your belly. And exhale. Now inhale. And exhale, roll yourself gently to one side and pause here. And press yourself up to sitting, staying very soft. Keeping your eyes closed if you like. All right, I'm going to come forward just for a moment to the computer and see how everyone is doing. Good, okay. Everyone seems fine. I want to look at your videos. I want to see your faces. Everyone, the energy is so soft and wonderful. Okay, okay, good. So let me just as well check the time. All right, so now we're going to do a slight inversion. I don't recommend this pose if you're on the first couple days of your cycle, ladies, especially when it's heavy. Then I suggest you do a Supta Baddha Konasana. So that would be the soles of the feet together, the knees supported, and then lie back. This pose is also not good for you if you have glaucoma, if you have anything else going on in your eyes, if you have a big head cold, you don't want to go upside down, those type of issues. So if you have any questions about whether this doing a gentle inversion, supported inversion is right for you, then please take a supported Baddha Konasana. So that's where we put the soles of the feet together, both feet out like this. I'll just quickly show. The soles of the feet would be together, and then you support the knees a lot with pillows symmetrically, and then lie back down, put something under the head, cover the body, cover the eyes. Okay, those of us who are going towards the inversion, you need your chair again. And the padding on the chair, it's great to cover just to make it soft for the backs of your legs. So here is where you will want to use your bolster or your bolster equivalent if you don't have a proper yoga bolster. You can take, like I said, a yoga mat, or you can just stack up a couple blankets. The point here is that my pelvis is going to go on the bolster. So we want to elevate the pelvis slightly, and the legs are going to go on top of the chair. So I'm going to take a second blanket. We're getting everything prepared, so once we lie down, we're not going to want to move. This is going to go for my legs. Tuck, 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 tuck. Okay. One more thing that's really lovely. If you've got some very small pillows, I can show you, you can use them for the hands. Let me grab my second one that's on this chair. Okay. And so you're going to sit down on your bolster and bring your feet up onto the chair like this. So the backs of your knees are supported here. Okay, I don't want your knees to be hanging in space like this. Okay, the backs of the knees is very important. Now, I suggest that you roll your calves to the outside. It just feels better. The meat of the calf, you roll to the outside. All right, and now, I hear somebody rustling. Do you have a question? No. Okay.
I think somebody was unmuted. I just remuted
Okay.
somebody.
Okay, so Can you hear me? Yes? All right. So the legs are back here. And the blanket, the second blanket, it's really nice to wrap it around the legs here and tuck it under. And then once again, move your calves slightly out. So this is just catching the legs. It's kind of like a
question.
Yeah.
One little question. Somebody's asking, what if they have a back on their chair?
If you have a back on your chair, turn your chair 90 degrees. So you just use this part of it. And your feet might hang off, your heels might hang off if you have long legs, but it's better than nothing. Or you could use a couch. This works really well on a couch. You can put your legs up onto a couch. Okay, so you're tucked in here. This is for warmth, and also it acts as like a belt that's holding the legs slightly so that you don't have to hold them together a little bit. All right, and now we're moving down towards the floor. And here you're going to need to adjust the support underneath you typically. So you just press into the legs and lift up a little bit, and you get this into a place that feels comfortable. That key word again, comfort. So I don't want this really high up so that you're arched here and hanging. That's not going to feel good, and we're going to stay a few minutes in the pose. So what I really want you to do is have the pelvis supported in a way that feels very comfortable to you, especially if you have sacroiliac lower back issues. Then you're going to move the support a little bit further down so your pelvis is really supported. Ideally, in an ideal world, if I were there with you in your homes adjusting all of you, what I would look for is that the support goes from the base of the pelvis, below the pelvis actually, all the way up to the very first rib. I don't want the ribs to be really supported by the bolster or the blankets, whatever you're on here, okay? And now, if you have these little pillows, you can they're just for the wrist. I like it because my floor is cold, so it keeps and it brings the wrist into a tiny bit of flexion. So I'm not supporting the whole arm, I'm really just supporting the wrist, okay? Make them symmetrical as best you can. And then you're gonna cover your eyes, okay? So I'm gonna unwind for just a moment and come forward and look at your videos because I wanna see you and see what you're doing. See if I can see anything I wanna say. Vanessa, it looks to me like you could move your bolster a tiny bit towards your bum. Down towards the chair. Yes. Is that better? Give me a thumbs up. Yeah. Good, good, good. Okay. I'm looking if I can see anyone else. Silke, you look amazing. You look like you're in the pose. I like seeing the backs of the knees supported, many of you. Good, good, good. Okay. So, once again, we're going to stay here for a few minutes in the pose, and we're going to have a little bit of silence. I'm going to take the pose with you. I have my phone on airplane. I'm going to set a little timer for us so that I know when to bring us out. Inversions are very powerful tools for activating the parasympathetic nervous system. So that's exactly what we're doing here. Anytime we bring the head lower than the heart. This is a baby version of Viparita Karani, which many of you know. Let me set our timer for us. So, last couple adjustments, anything you need to find exactly the position that you want to be in for the next couple of minutes. If at any time it becomes uncomfortable, please come out. Just sit quietly or lie down quietly on your mat. Let yourself receive the support here, just as we did in our prana mudra vinyasa invocation. We're inviting now ourselves to receive the nourishing power of this pose. Still, dark, quiet, and warm. Let yourself settle in. We'll each go on our own journey and we'll rejoin in a few minutes. Inhale the breath. And exhaling, gently bring your hands towards your belly. Being really gentle with yourself in this transition. There's two good ways to come out of this pose. You may like to simply draw your knees into your chest and roll to the side. But even more gentle is to lift up and remove the support if you can slide it out and come down onto your back. So you feel the whole length of your spine on the floor. Take a couple breaths here. Feel what a different sensation it is now in your belly and your low ribs. When that back bend is now gone and you're simply flat onto the floor. You feel perhaps more contained. Slip your legs off the chair and roll yourself to the side. Press yourself up to sitting. Finding the vertical line. So, whatever happened to you in that pose, whether you dove deeply into the relaxation or you felt your mind resisting the relaxation, either way is completely fine. Many of the poses in a restorative class like this are meant to build towards our next and final pose, shavasana. So many of the poses, we started with that uttanasana, with the head on the chair. Then we did the dog pose, the very simple dog pose. We did the forward bend, the simple back bend lying on the floor, and then this inversion. These poses are all meant increasing lengths of time, and they're all sort of appetizers that are building towards the main course, the most powerful pose we have in restorative yoga, preparing our mind-body space for shavasana. So let's do it. Let's take shavasana. You're going to need your blankets, and you're going to need, you won't need the chair. So I'm going to put that away. You'll need a bolster or your bolster equivalent, something round. I have this square bolster I was using. I'm going to replace that. I'm going to use my round bolster here. And you need something for your head. So you can either use a blanket or you can use a pillow like this from the couch. So let's take a blanket. If you have a yoga blanket, if you're so lucky, you can take it and roll it here to go underneath the ankles. But if you have a regular old couch blanket for when you watch Netflix, that's also fine. You just want to create a shape of round support for the Achilles tendon behind the ankles. Okay? So let's get situated there now. You want to support the backs of the ankles, and you want to support the backs of the knees. And take a moment, it is worthwhile to take a moment here and see that the backs of the knees are really supported in the center of your support. So I'm not doing this. I'm not supporting the thighs. Excuse me, I have something caught in my throat. I really am supporting the backs of the knees. Now is the time to take another blanket and put it over your feet for warmth. So even if don't think you're going to get cold, I really suggest you take this now, and you can just leave it here on your lower legs so that you can pull it up halfway through the pose. We're going to stay a few minutes in this pose. That last pose we stayed 10 minutes. So your body often, we cool as we lie here, especially my floor is cold. Okay, now I like this couch pillow to support my head, or you can use another yoga blanket if you have it. The one fun trick is to take the pillow, and instead of putting it this way on the head, you turn the tip to go under like this. And the tip points down. And then I'll show you when I get there how we're going to use that. Okay, so I'm setting my timer for us before I lie down. All right, so you have your eye bag ready. You have the pillows for your hands. Knees are supported, ankles are supported, blanket for warmth. Now, as you come down, as you begin to lie down, come onto your elbows, okay? And on your elbows here, what I'd like you to do is feel as though you're lengthening, you're moving your rib cage away from your pelvis, okay? As I come down onto my back, I'm moving the rib cage away. So this has a really wonderful effect on the lower back. Get your blanket situated. And now, if you have this pillow with the tip under, you're going to bring that tip really far under, past the neck, between the shoulder blades. Somewhere where it feels comfortable, but it's pretty deeply in. So you're supporting the back of the neck. And then what I do is I take these side tips, because we've turned the pillow into kind of a diamond shape, and these tips you can fold under. And especially if you're on a yoga mat, they'll catch because there's enough friction. And the effect of this is to soften the chin, so that the chin is lower than the forehead. You can see that in my profile on the video. My chin is softly bowing. I'm not tucking it in like Jalandhara Bandha. It's just because of the shape of the support, it's softly lowering. And then eye bag, very important, cover the eyes. So Linda, would you jump in and let me know? Just turn on your mic and let me know if there's anything that needs my attention, if anyone has a question in the chat, or anyone needs help in this moment before we start. All right. So pull up your blanket. You may want to tuck it in around you. Last couple adjustments that you need to make your pose completely comfortable. I'm going to just tell my Shatsi, who's over there in the room with us, to please be absolutely silent. Du Shatsi, Nico, bitte, ganz still sein. We're doing shavasana. So anything you can do, last few adjustments, asking the people in your home to be quiet, or shifting your weight in your pelvis, getting your last few adjustments. The eyes are covered. The body is completely supported by the floor and by the props. Palms are open. And we're moving now into a state of receptivity, letting yourself receive this pose. In many other forms of asana practice, we are actively doing the pose. But in restorative yoga, and especially in shavasana, the pose is doing us. We are receiving the pose. Move into that space now. Invite yourself to receive this pose, this amount of deep comfort. And once again, the instructions are so simple. Turn your attention inward. Notice any tension and invite it to release. So we're all around the world together now in Shavasana. From Mill Valley, California to Salzburg, Austria, Paris, New York. We're all doing this incredibly courageous and simple act to lie here and do nothing, an ultimate act of ahimsa towards ourselves. And I'm going to give us a few minutes of silence. I'm right here. And just exhale into Shavasana. Inhale your breath. Exhaling, bring your hands towards your body. Take a couple breaths here. One by one, turn your kneecaps to look up at the ceiling. And one by one, press your lower back into the ground as you gently bend one knee and then the other, bringing the feet on top of the bolster. And roll yourself to the side. Press yourself up to sitting. Staying really soft here. I'm going to come up to the computer to say goodbye. And hopefully Linda can repin or re-emphasize.
You want me to repin your other?
Yes, that would be wonderful. If you can find me. So sitting with your spine long. Your eyes might still be closed. I have a short poem or a sutra to share with you today as we close. It's from the Radiant Sutras by Lauren Roche. And it's on page 135. It's sutra number 100. I thought this was perfectly fitting for our theme today. All this talk of purity and impurity, these are just opinions. Beyond them, all the miraculous energies of creation. Rays of light from 1 trillion suns illume the altar of your sky. Rolling blue-green oceans sanctify the air you breathe. In this moment, you are inhaling their blessing. Who are you to call any of this pure or impure? Find the center around which everything revolves. Stand here and be flooded with joy. So inhaling the breath, open the palms away from the body. Let yourself be flooded with joy. Exhaling, bring the palms together in front of the heart. Namaste. May we live like the lotus at home in the muddy water. I want to say a big thank you to Linda for inviting us all here to share this time and space together. This was the highlight of my week. I want to give you all my website, lizzie.yoga, Lizzie.yoga. Go here and jump on my newsletter, the Sunday Shavasana series. I send it out twice a month with lots of goodies for us restorative yoga enthusiasts. All right, darlings. Merci bien. I'm sending you off into your day, into your night.